Good morning, dear students. Welcome to online class. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about the beginning of revolt. That is 1857, the Sipai Mutiny. Okay, in this class, we are going to discuss about the next point. That is the struggle for freedom continues. Okay, fine. So, the 1857 revolt, it was put down sternly and forcefully by the British, but it was called as a successful. But after this war, some important revolts also done. Okay, and some important persons like social reformers like Swami Vivekananda, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Rahman Rai, and Dayanand Saraswati, and Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. So they started to began to think about the reasons that had helped the British come to power. Yes, so they started to thinking why they came to power and what are the some reasons to become a very powerful Britishers in our India. Yes, so that's why they realized that our own disunity and the backwardness had played an important role. So that's why they started to urge the people to give up certain beliefs and customs like sati system is there, child marriage is there, caste discrimination and untouchability, and they started to giving more importance to male children, etc. Okay, and they encourage people to educate themselves. So that's why they started some educated women and girl would be contributed in building a progressive society. So like this they started to removing the child marriage sati system and caste system and untouchability. So got it. And some important leaders is also there. For example, Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and Surendranath Banerjee. They came to be known as the moderate. Yes, and they are believing in putting forth their demands for reforms politely. That means they are believing in the politeness. Yes, but they thought that the Britishers would see a reason in their demands and grant them. And a British servant, his name is Alan Octavian Hume. Yes, Alan Octavian Hume. You can see his image. So he was a supporter of INC, that is Indian National Congress. Yes, and the moderates will discuss the problems Indians were facing, and they were also seeking important positions in the government. Yes, and the British kept ignoring the request of all the moderates. Yes, so moderates they are giving some important suggestions to the Britishers, but they were ignoring. Yes, and like the younger members of the Indian National Congress, namely Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Yes, so you can see here Bal Gangadhar Tilak is there, Lala Lajpat Rai is there, and Bipin Chandra Pal is the. They felt that if such a mild approach was adopted, India had no chance of independence. Yes, so that's why they decided they wanted a Swaraj or total independence, and these people were called the radical nationalists. Yes, so the B4 people, that is Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and Surendranath Banerjee, they were the moderates. Yes, they are believing in putting the forth of their demands, but these radicals people, that is Lal Bal Pal, so they are not believing in such type of that means such type of demands, that is politeness demands. So they wanted some Purna Swaraj or total independence. So that's why they consider as a radical nationalist. So Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he believed that every citizen of India had a right to demand their independence. Yes, and that's why he urged the people across the country to unite at such difficult times. So that's why he started to newspapers like Kesari is there and Maratha is there. Yes, and his slogan is there, that is Swaraj is my birthright and I will have it. Yes, so like this he started to inspire the peoples. Yes, and next a partition of Bengal is there. So Lord Curzon was the viceroy of the India during 1899 to 1905. So he divided Bengal into two provinces on the basis of religion. Yes, in the year 1905. Yes, and before the division, Hindus and Muslims had been living a harmony for a long time. Yes, and the Indians were very upset and protested strongly against this move. Yes, and the Britishers, they were forced to reunite Bengal in 1911. Yes, but the demand had been done. Both the communities began to feeling insecure with each other. So that's why the Muslim League was formed in December 1906 under the leadership of Nawab Salimullah Khan. So he has established the Muslim League in the year 1906. Yes, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Aga Khan were the powerful members of this Muslim League. Okay, and then after Swadeshi movement and boycott movement is there. So the partition of Bengal led to a launching of Swadeshi and boycott movement. Yes, so Swadeshi movement that means the Indian peoples, they decided to boycott British made goods and apples were made in India. Yes, and that means they started the Swadeshi movement, but only those things that were made in India, that is Swadeshi movement. That means the things which are made in India, that is considered the Swadeshi movement, and they started to boycott the British made goods. Okay, and they gave the importance to the khadi cloths, and it will become very popular, and it was also woven from the yarn made, that is charka of Indian homes. So Indian people started to throwing the British made goods in bonfires. Yes, and shopkeepers also refused to sell foreign goods, and factories were set up to manufacture soap, paints and clothes, among other things. Yes, and like this the Britishers came down heavily of the protesters, and many Indians were put in jails, but this did not defer the people of India, and now they had just one goal, that is freedom from foreign rule. Yes, so like this, the First World War broke out in the year 1914. Then after the Britishers, they imposed some strict laws on the Indians, that is Rowlatt Act. So according to this act, every British officers or the policers, they have a right to arrest any Indian without any proper reason. Got it? And next one is the India wins freedom. Lastly, so the Rowlatt Act, it was passed by British in the year 1919. Yes, and after the supporting them the First World War, this is how the Britishers rewarded the Indians. Enough was enough. Yes, so that's why the first thing is the Jallianwala Bagh massacre is there. So it was took place in the year 1919 April 13. So thousands of Indians had came together at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, and they were making a meeting, peaceful meeting, and so British officers, his name is General Dyer, he surrendered the park with the armed policeman, and he blocked only exits from the park and ordered his soldiers to open fire on the unarmed people inside. So during that time, thousands of people lost their lives. Yes, and many people, including women and children, were hurt, and this cruel act of his stunned India. So that's why Mahatma Gandhi joined the Indian National Congress after returning from South Africa in the year 1914. Yes, as this news, that is the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, spread across the India, so people were very furious during that time. So that's why Mahatma Gandhi ji, he started non-cooperation movement in the year 1920. Yes, and the Mahatma Gandhi ji, he believed that. He did not believe that violence, and people told not to obey British laws, and that were unjust, and not to pay taxes, and Indians from across all the country joined this movement. Yes, and students, they boycotted British run educational institutions, and lawyers, they also refused work for British judges, and people blocked entrance of shops selling British made goods. Yes, and the fight for freedom has gathered strength. So like this, the every people's aim is that they want to freedom. Okay, so like this, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Maulana Azad, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Sarojini Naidu, yes, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Siraj Gopalachari, they were the very important leader in this peaceful protest. Yes, and like this, Rabindranath Tagore he also refused to accept the kinghood, knighthood bestowed upon him. That means he has returned his award to the Britishers. Yes, and uh, later they started the Salt March. So the Britishers they controlled the salt market, and Indians were not to allowed to mix salt from the seawater. Yes, and the salt sold by the British was very expensive. So that means they are imposing more taxes. So the Gandhiji he challenged this law, and he walked from his ashram, that is from Sabarmati to Dandi coastal area, and he broke the law by publicly by making the salt from seawater. Yes, and and the Dandi March was a part of civil disobedience movement. And 26 January 1930, the Congress they raised its own flag and celebrated the Independence Day. Yes, and like this. The Second World War broke out in the year 1939. Yes, and in the year 1942, Quit India movement was launched. Yes, Quit India movement was launched. Yes, and Gandhiji he gave the slogan "Do or die." That means either get freedom or die trying to get it. Yes, the Quit India movement was very effective, and it finally forced the British to leave. At midnight on 14th August 1947, the British flag was brought down and replaced by the Indian tricolor. Yes, so like this, so Gandhiji he fight for our freedom, and after getting independence, our India got the freedom. Yes, and the country was split into the two basic religion. That is mainly Indian Muslim moved into the newly created Pakistan, and Hindus they moved out the states now in Pakistan and now settle in secular India. And this was indeed a very sad event in our history. So the first president of Indian independent, his name is Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was the first prime minister of our independent India, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah he became the leader of Pakistan. Got it? And like this, the story of Indian struggle for freedom it was very important, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose he was very important person in this. Movement. Yes, and he was an active member of the Indian National Congress. Yes, and also he organized the Azad Hind Force. Yes, so like this we got the independence. Yes, I hope all of you have understood this lesson, and thank you for watching this video.